So we are going to eat.
Yeah,
Are you going to be hungry though?
I'll make it work.
Okay.
Easy now.
Easy. All right, here we go. Tiger Talks, episode 11.
Is it
Boop,
11?
boop. It's
12
11.
or 13?
No, it's 11.
So if we get to 12, so I was in an elevator the other day.
Okay.
They go from 12 to 14. So I guess we're just
We could just skip 13.
We're gonna have to skip 13.
All right,
and go to
so
14 after 12.
Tiger
so,
Talks, episode
man, you just
11.
came in a little aggressive this morning.
I
don't
was
know
aggressive.
If Shelly's watching, or I know Mom is watching. So, Mama Mike Code, you might need to call your son later today and just encourage him because he's a little aggressive this morning.
I'm a little aggressive because all I had to eat for breakfast was yogurt with some granola in it. And
I was gonna
I'm
say,
super
I know
hungry.
Shelly didn't cause you to get aggressive. That's a pretty sweet
No,
young
Shelly's
lady.
actually, if I asked her to, she would have made like turkey sausage, eggs, oatmeal, toast. I mean, she would have thrown it like.
And y'all are going to our place? I'm coming to Mike Cody's house. I mean, I'm like, yeah.
I mean, we like
You
to
got
eat at home
honey?
too. Yeah, honey, it's good. Local honey
Yes.
helps
With
with
oatmeal? Have
helps
you ever
with the
tried
asthma.
that?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oatmeal, honey, and butter. That's all you need.
All right, so you sent
all
me
you
the podcast agenda,
Yeah.
but before we do that, we got a
Oh, yeah,
special
we got to do a
message.
shout out.
Okay, go ahead.
Shout out to Northwood. I almost missed it. Sorry, Rebecca and Chris. Shout out to North. Oh, they've got it posted right here. They were supposed to perform at 10:58 here in Fort Worth. I'm assuming Dickies Arena or one of the places and one of the big spots, wherever the NCAA or the NCAA cheerleading nationals is taking place. So good luck to the Northwood High School Falcon squad, coached by Rebecca Galambos.
Rebecca,
Yeah.
how do you know them?
So I met Crew. Maybe I haven't told this story. It's a pretty cool story.
Crew, the golfer,
Yes.
the teenage phenom.
Yes. So I met Crew about 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in this July. Kathy and I had gone to Shreveport, and I wanted to go play golf. And it was a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon around 12:30, and I walked into the golf shop, and I was like, "Hey, can I get on?" And she's like, "Well, I'm supposed to have a twosome come up, but they haven't showed up yet." And Crew, I didn't know him at the time, had walked in, and he was going to play. And she's like, "Well, do you mind playing with a young man, a young kid?" And I go, "No, I don't care. I just want to play." And she goes, "He's really good." And I turned around. He was probably 12 years old. He has since grown about 6 inches or 8 inches, given the day. And anyway, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, I'll play with you. Let's go." I said, "Do you need to ride with me?" And he goes, "No, I have my own cart." And I was like, "Okay." And so we get out on the road, out on the first tee box, and he stripes it right down the middle, gets a par, or he may have buried that hole. And then we go to number 2, does the same thing. We get into 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm sitting here watching this kid just. He's about even par, 1 over, and I'm about 8 over, 9 over, and I'm like, "Oh,
You're in trouble, man."
Yeah, I'm like, "Man, this kid is."
12-year-old's gonna kick your butt.
He was 12 at the time, or I didn't know. I don't even know if I knew how old he was. I actually thought he was like 14 or 15. I did ask him at one point. I said, "Well, are you in high school?" And he goes, "No." And I didn't want to assume because with kids, you don't want to. It's like the flip of our age.
Right.
Now, when people tell us that we're 40, we're like, "Oh, wow." But when you're 15 or 14, you tell a kid, "Hey, you look like you're 11 or 12." That's an insult to them.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that. So
I found I lost my ability to judge how old kids are when I turned about 45.
There you go.
I couldn't tell anymore.
There you go.
Like
And-
college students look like they were in middle school to me.
Yeah, exactly. And so with Crew, we're sitting there, and I said, "Well, are you in high school? Are you about to be a freshman?" Because this is summer. I said, have you just left junior high and going to high school? He goes, "No, I'm in junior high." And so we just keep on playing. A couple, about 2 or 3 guys come up that are in high school, and they are heckling him and kind of harassing him. And I didn't say anything because I didn't know the people. I didn't know Crew and all. Come to find out, his mom's a teacher at the high school, at Northwood High School, and she's a cheer sponsor.
And that's the shirt you're wearing today.
Yes, and the
Andrew,
Falcons.
can we see that shirt?
Yeah.
Like, move the microphone so people see that shirt.
So here, there we go.
Okay.
Northwood Falcons. And so our Northwood cheer and varsity cheer. And I need a hoodie, by the way. So if Shannon Wall or Rebecca or Chris are watching this, I need a hoodie. So we get around to, so the kids shoe off and we get around to, I believe it was 15. Yes, we were waiting on 15 and we ran up on 3 guys and we caught them. And the guys are like, man, we've been watching y'all. Y'all are pretty good. And to the young kid, they're like, man, you're really good. And I'm sitting over there kind of on my golf cart, and Crew is in his golf cart. And I kind of have my legs crossed over, and I'm checking my emails and stuff. But I kind of hear out of the conversation. And like I said, Crew's not a big talker at this point. He's just not a big talker. He's kind of go with the flow and just kind of keeps to himself. And the guy's engaging him, and the guy's in his 20s or whatever, and the guy goes, man, I bet you're number 1 on your high school team. And he goes, no, I'm in junior high. And I'd heard this. Well, I'm thinking, again, still, I'm thinking that this is an 8th grader about to go in 9th grade. And the guy goes, well, you must be going to high school. He goes, actually, no, I'm 11 years old, and I'm going to 6th grade. And I about fell out of my golf cart.
So that's Crew. That's where the Northwood comes from.
Yeah.
Crew goes to Northwood.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I about fell out of my golf cart when he said that. And I looked over at him and I said, hey, Crew, I got off my phone because now I'm totally engaged in what's going on. I was like, and the guys had just left off the tee box. And I looked at Crew and I said, Crew, you're going into 6th grade? Like, we're not even, like, you said you were in junior high. He goes, yeah, I told you I was in junior high. And I go, so is junior high like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? He goes, yeah, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I'm just now going into 6th grade. And so he plays in I asked him, I said, well, did you win the junior golf tournament?
So wait a second. You caught him the summer after he graduated elementary school.
Yeah, yes. And he goes, are you, I said, are you playing in the junior championship? He goes, no, we were on vacation. He said, I've won that like 2 or 3 times. He said, I am playing in the men's championship a couple of weeks from now. And I went, you're playing in the what? And he's playing in the actual men's golf club championship at the end of July. So I don't remember how he did that year. So his dad owns the record at Northwood Country Club.
What's his dad's name?
Chris Galambos. And the granddad, Jim, is the mayor of Blanchard, which is the city that this golf course is in. It's about 20 minutes north of Shreveport. And anyway, so Chris has shot like, I think the record's 64, and he shot it like 3 or 4 times. And so Chris doesn't really play in the club championship anymore. And so Crew is playing in that. Well, I don't remember how he did in 2024, but last summer in 2025, Crew won the men's golf championship in a playoff.
Wow.
And he's 13 years old now.
Wow.
He's turning 12 he's about to turn 12 when I met him. He's 13. He'll turn 14. I think he's a summer baby. I don't remember when his birthday is, but I think he's a summer baby. And he's about to turn, he'll turn 13 or 14. He's in 7th grade. He's on he may be in 8th grade. No, he's in 7th grade. So 24, yeah. He's in 7th grade. And he's on the basketball team at the school. He plays basketball and golf. He's a really good basketball player. He scored as much, I think Chris told me about a couple of weeks ago, he scored 21 or 25 points in a game. And he and another little point guard are the top scorers for their basketball team. And the daughter, this is incredible. This family is just really an all-American family. And they're really a cool family, and we're kind of age difference. It's like a lot of age difference between even us and the parents. But me and the dad have just hit it off really well, and then we go out to dinner a lot of times when we get down there. So the daughter is a junior. She's not on the cheer squad. She's on the dance team. She's
Okay.
on the drill team, and she is also in student council. Well, Ava is her name, and I've gotten to start to know Ava a little bit. Ava just got appointed to the Louisiana Board of Education.
Wow.
Like she's a student rep for the Louisiana Board of Education.
Impressive family.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then there's Chris and Rebecca,
Yeah.
and I say that kind of in a joke because they'll know that it's good that I'm. It's a good name. We've gotten to know each other enough that we can joke like that. He jokes about my putting from time to time. I can't beat him, but I always want to beat him.
Yeah.
Like that's my goal is to walk off and beat Chris one day at the game. And I'm sure if he ever watches this, he'll be like, "Yeah, you ain't gonna ever do that." But it's fun to go play, and it's fun to play with him. And we just talk, and he'll tell me he's like, we'll be about hole 3 or 4, and if I'm not putting, he'll go, "Man, you're putting like crap today."
Oh.
And I'll look at him and I'll go, "Really? We know each other that way?" But he did that about the 3rd time we played together, and I was like, "Oh wow, I guess we do know each other pretty well now." But so they invited me this past weekend. It's really cool. Their school, Northwood High School. The principal is just a really nice guy. If you've ever seen that principal, if you're in education, you've ever seen, I think his name's Miller or whatever, that goes around on a cart all day long. Now, I don't think Shannon does this. I don't know what Shannon does. I haven't been in there asked him for day to day. But that guy's real energetic and everything. If you look on reels, they've got this principal guy that's doing a lot of lives and a lot of reels, and he's going around talking about his day, how he's going around on the carts and how he's rarely in his office and all. Well, Shannon is a very energetic principal. I got to know him this weekend. Shannon Wall, shout out to Shannon Wall at Northwood High School. That's totally off script, but it's perfect for what we're doing. But anyway, they do this big barbecue cook-off. And Chris had been telling me about it for a month or so since before the holidays. He's like, "Dude, I got to get you in to be a judge." And so he did. He got me in. So we went down there this weekend, got to play a little golf before it got bad Saturday and Sunday. And Chris has got me judging chicken, and I judged chicken and brisket. And they had a chili one as well. And I was like, "Man, gosh, I wish I'd gotten in the chili one." But the chicken, so, I mean, I'm a Texas barbecue guy.
Sure.
I mean, I love brisket. I love good smoked sausage. And I like chicken, but usually the chicken I've had before, and a lot of times barbecue places just don't do it right, was dry. You know what I'm talking about? It's kind of dry, and the rub kind of dries it out, takes
Yeah.
the juices out a little bit.
Like you're eating leather.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks. They put me on the final table. So if you go through judging, this is my first time to ever do this. If you go through judging, you have 2 preliminary or 3 preliminary tables, and then they have a final table. So like they may have 24 entries, and they whittle it down to like the top 10 or top 12, and then you judge the top. If you're on the final table, that's what you're judging, the top 10.
Okay.
Like you don't judge all of them. You
Right.
judge the finalists. So they set me down. It was Shannon, the principal. He set me down. He said, "You'll be judge number 1, and we'll go down here, and then we'll go down here." And then there were 7 of us as judges. And so what they do is, like I start at number 1, then they pass to the right. So number 2, number 3, and I got all the way down. Well, then once 7 leaves, they will announce, "Hey, number 8's coming on to the table, number 9's all the way up to whatever." And I think there were 12 or 16. I can't remember. But so the first chicken I chased was like off the charts. And I'm sitting there going, "There's no way that this chicken is the best one. I mean, surely there's more." And I gave it like a 7.5. And I went back a little bit later, and I was like, "Man, that chicken was really good. I think I'm going to bump it to a 9.5. Number 1 ends up winning the chicken contest. But every one of them were, I guess there were 14, because number 14 was also, I rated number 1 and number 14 9.5s. And I've had a lot of barbecue in my life, obviously living in Texas. And not just Dickey's barbecue. but I mean, a lot of people know Eddie Dean. Eddie Dean has catered for the Governors a lot of times, and Eddie Dean is based out of Terrell, Texas. One of the best barbecues I ever had, if any of my Terrell folks are listening, would be Russell's Ranch Hand Barbecue. It's no longer in Terrell. It was there in the 70s. If you grew up in the 70s, you remember the dog Benji that was had its own TV show. Benji came to Russell's Ranch Hand Barbecue.
Well, that's a shout out to Benji.
There you go. And then and so my point is, but this chicken was off the charts. Every one of them, even the worst one, was really delicious. And I was like, dude, I could judge chicken every year because it was that good.
It was that sounds fantastic, man.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So, is it any coincidence that the Northwood varsity cheer official colors are the same colors as the Longhorns?
Oh no, it's just a.
Would you be wearing that shirt today if it was Boomer Sooner color?
Can we go on to the? Let's see, Super Bowl 60. What are we? Who are we rooting for in
All
Super
right.
Bowl?
Here we go.
You like how I segued that?
Yeah, that was a great segue. We're going to talk about football. We're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about legacy.
Hey, who
We're
you
going
got?
to talk about money.
Who you got with Denver and New England?
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about this backup quarterback, so I don't know.
So do you think the New England will win this? And are you? So I just thought of this. It's not in our notes.
Yeah.
Are you more on board with New England winning now, if they were to win, than when Tom Brady and Bill Belichick were there? I think that's an interesting question, don't you?
So I was super resentful of Tom Brady.
I've talked a lot. You tell me about this.
Yeah, I didn't think that he was that good until I kept losing. He would come back.
10 Super Bowls.
Yeah, he'd come back just about every time, and I started saying, don't bet against Brady.
Yeah.
Just don't bet against Brady because Brady's going to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of his career, and I heard some interviews that he did with kids and talk about his family, talk about his his growing up and becoming the starter at Michigan. And even though I'm not a big fan of Michigan, I am a fan of discipline. I am a fan of family. I am a fan of pushing through and becoming a master of your craft. So in that regard, I'm a fan of Brady. Yeah, I like Brady. But I think that this new Patriots regime is completely different. Like Robert Kraft, he's still there.
Mm-hmm.
But Brady's gone, Belichick's gone. And
Belichick's.
But I think the DNA in the Patriots organization is still there. The DNA that Brady put, the DNA that Belichick installed, I think that that's still there. Not maybe in the locker room, but in the fans. The fans still expect that. They still expect their team to perform at a high level.
So were you ever a fan of the New England Patriots growing up?
Never.
Really?
No.
So I will say this. As a Cowboy fan, obviously we all grew up, it was entrenched. It's kind of like barbecue. It's entrenched in you.
Right. Cowboys, barbecue, sweet tea.
Yeah, and it happens, I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it happens in both Texas and Oklahoma because y'all don't really have a pro football team.
No, everybody in Oklahoma
Your pro
loves
football
the
team
Cowboys.
was the Sooners. I mean, let's just be honest about that.
Right. It was.
I
mean, the NIL washed all those sins away, though. So now you can actually pay them.
Is that how y'all won 7 championships?
I don't know how they won it.
I mean, that's how you won.
It was Barry Switzer, whatever he was doing, pulling.
And here we go. We got Mike Varble, go Buckeyes by Mr. Allen. So
the great.
We're
Chuck
not talking
Allen.
about Ohio State yet. Okay, we're Ohio State. Were they even in the championship this year?
You're just going to get Chuck on a rant, so don't do that. All right, so I do like.
So
Ohio
where were
State,
we? So what I was going to say, add to what you just said, because it was beautiful what you just said. So I kind of liked, because I'm a history buff, and I love first half of American history. And I love, if you remember in the 1970s, the Patriots had the guy, it's like the center hiking the ball, and they had that on the side of their helmets for their emblem. And that was their Patriots. And I loved that.
Yeah.
I mean, one of our favorite spots, one of mine and Kathy's favorite spots to travel to is Boston. We love Boston.
Yeah.
And it's a great city. If you're ever in Boston, please go to Humberto's Pizzeria because it is the best. It is absolutely the best. It's in the Italian section of town, and it is absolutely the best. But the Patriots, I loved them. So Steve Bartkowski, I think, in the 70s was the quarterback. The long time.
Man, you're going way back, bro.
The receivers, they just were a workhorse type team.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, either around Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving when they were playing, you saw them playing in the snow. And I like that. I mean,
that was cool.
I'm kind of
I
hoping
did
it
like
snows.
seeing them play in the snow. Here's a question I have for you, okay?
Okay.
So we have all these teams with great legacies, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on this, man? Because it seems like teams either go one of two directions. Either they go to like living in the past based off their reputation and creating massive valuations for their team, or they actually go to like winning. Like, are these teams living too far in the past?
I agree.
Are they?
do. And that's a great question because a lot of my deal is not to troll Cowboy fans or not to serious Cowboy fans, and there are a lot of serious Cowboy fans in DFW. My kids have my kids have never seen a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
now
sad.
think about that. Like my son, I'll try to get him to come watch a football game or to come watch them. He's not interested because he doesn't live it, and all these things are changing. My daughter will watch a little bit of the game. I think her husband, Josh, likes to watch the games a little bit. But even now, the generations of today, and I think all levels of football, basketball, baseball, they're in somewhat trouble if you don't capture the generations that are coming up. And I think they would be rather gaming. I think they would rather be doing alternative type sporting events. And I think you're right that there is a legacy, or there's two ways. And I think you're right that teams are living in the past, and I don't think that they're winning. Here's what I believe that owners should do. I get it that owners are in it for the valuation and to make a profit. I get that. That is the new way of making money. Maybe if I can buy a team for $200 million and then it's worth $2.9 billion when I sell it, like in the case of Mark Cuban, then that's awesome. Yeah, that's how you make money. But I also believe that owners have a right, and I don't think that the owners of today believe this, but I do also believe that owners have a right to not only try to make money or break even and increase the value of the team, but I do have a belief that they have the right to be good stewards of that team and try to give the fans a competitive product on the field. And I believe it's within their realm that they need to try to find a competitive product. Like I think baseball has the haves and the mediocre, the middle class, and then they have the have-nots. And I think baseball needs to figure out how to make it to where it's able to be competitive for everyone. The NFL has a situation where they choose to really, it's a lot of parity. Like, who would have thought that Denver was not doing that well 3 years ago, 4 years ago? They bring in a great coach, Sean Payton, and I think too much emphasis is put on the quarterback. I think that Denver's going to be competitive this Sunday. I don't think losing Bo Nix is going to be – that's a plug to your team, Paul Reed, if you're watching. And but I do think that Denver's going to be competitive because Sean Payton's a good coach. He will figure out a way to make that a 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns. I don't think New England blows Denver out.
Yeah.
That said, I do think Denver has a huge challenge ahead of them because of the quarterback situation. But I think we make too much of the quarterback. A lot of friends of mine would just dog cuss Dak Prescott. But yet, here's the thing. We've had Tony Romo. We've had Dak Prescott. We've had all these quarterbacks. We've had all these coaches. And we've had all this stuff. We've had top-notch defenses. We've had top-notch offenses. Like the offense was off the charts this year for the Dallas Cowboys. But we don't win.
And I think that's why the Broncos have a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a solid defense.
They do.
You know, this parity, though, it used to exist in at a greater level in college football until the NIL money started
It
stepping
did.
in.
It
But
did.
Indiana, they
Isn't
proved
that
that
beautiful?
yeah, they proved that you don't need all that.
No.
I
But
mean,
I
you need
don't
a
think
great
it can be
coach.
sustainable.
Yeah, I don't think
You
it's
got you got
sustainable either.
teams that are losing 20, 25 million.
I mean, even the quarterback's brother, he entered the
Like,
portal and got paid, right?
yeah,
Is this is this college football NIL money? Is this sustainable?
no. I
Is,
mean, you got athletic programs that are losing 20, 25 million. The University of Texas, which is considered like the Dallas Cowboys of college football,
yeah.
like they have a athletic endowment that is huge. A&M, which I'm not a big fan of A&M. A&M has a huge athletic endowment. And yet the athletic program is showing a red figure of 25 million. How can that be sustainable?
I don't know.
And before you start sending me all this stuff and saying, well, donors will just pop up. No, they won't. At some point, donors will say, I'm tapped out. They've already reached the middleman like me, or the little man like me, where I said to Baylor, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do the tickets, and I'm not going to do the season tickets when you have been shifted to the lower levels by ESPN and others. They're going to put your game on after they put on the marquee teams. And those games are, if I can't make it and I want to sell my tickets, those tickets aren't sellable.
Yeah, nobody wants to buy tickets to a game nobody wants to see.
Well, nobody wants to buy tickets to a game that starts at 8 or 9 o'clock at night on a weeknight, and they have to get back home.
That's also true.
Which is 2 hours away or 3 hours away if it's Houston. And that's where most of the donors come from is Houston and Dallas. And the other thing is you're donating. Like I was almost up to, I hate to admit this, and it's kind of, but I was almost up to a $10,000 total commitment between tickets and giving, and my priority wasn't improving, and I was like, well, there's no end to this, and so now if I go to 15,000, which I didn't have that, and well, even if I did, could have done 15,000, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah,
I'd reached a point to where I was out.
yeah,
And the arena's awesome. The Foster Pavilion at Baylor University is one of the best arenas I've ever been into. And I've been into a lot of college and pro arenas. And, I mean, probably the second best, and I know you're a big OU fan, but I'll tell you the second best, and actually it may be a little bit better than Baylor, is the arena at Oklahoma State. Absolutely best place to watch a basketball game.
Yeah.
It is an awesome place to watch a basketball game.
And they're a good team too.
But there has to be something that gets worked out to where these things level out. And like I said, we made this, and I know Chris, my buddy that we were talking about earlier, he's a huge Notre Dame fan. I've done some roofs for some Notre Dame fans. And look, I am not bad-mouthing Notre Dame when I say this, but you cannot have a team over here doing their own thing, conferences over here doing their own thing, and then you got to find like in the NFL. If the Dallas Cowboys are the most visible team and the most highly rated team on TV, which they are, win or lose, the Dallas Cowboys, if they're put on Sunday night or they're put on Monday night, that'll be one of the highest ratings for the season. It'll be top 5.
Right.
And if it's a close game, it will probably be number 1.
Right.
So, but the Dallas Cowboys don't get a special favor because the NFL would like it to be in. The Dallas Cowboys don't get a special favor that at the end of the season, no matter their record or if they're rated in the top 12, they get to be in the playoffs.
Right.
And I think that that's the one thing that should be, I think that, and then I think that they ought to, I've been watching what the Big Ten's pushing for. They're pushing for a 24-team pool. And I think you need to do away with conference championships. The SEC doesn't want to do away with conference championship because it's a very money-driven thing.
Yeah.
But I think you should do away with 24. I think if you got to 24 teams, did away with all the bowls and use the bowls. Like Chris and I were talking. We played together right before the Christmas holidays, and he's like, "Man, if the weather's good, I think I may the Independence Bowl is right across from my office." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I may go over there if it's 55, 60 degrees and watch the game." And I remember when the Southwest Conference was in place.
Yeah.
The third team would play somebody from the Big East.
Yeah.
And you had a team that was relatively close from sometimes LSU would come up and play in the Independence Bowl. And you've got, I think what they could do is still use some of the bowls, like in Dallas, like use the Cotton Bowl, use the Texas Bowl down in Houston, use some of these bowls, use the Sun Bowl out in El Paso. Like if Texas Tech was in the first round next year and it was 24 teams and they were playing, say, I know Arizona is in let's just go to Big Ten. Say they're playing Washington in the first round of the playoffs. Put them in the Sun Bowl or put them out in the Rose Bowl. Use these bowls as regional hosts and make it like that to where teams are going to travel. Teams would where fans would travel, because that's the big thing about bowls is they want fans coming to travel. Well, but if you got 3 or 4 rounds, fans are going to pick where they go. But if you started putting the games within their proximity where they didn't have to fly, they didn't have to pay for a hotel, or they didn't have to eat out 4 or 5 times, that they could go to the game and go back home, you might get more traffic and you might get more games. And then as you get closer to the semifinals or finals, then those become and rotate the top bowls, like the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and the Peach Bowl or whatever. And you rotate those into across the nation to where everybody gets a shot at the national championship at some point.
Well,
that's my thought.
I think you have to add the component of it being a tournament.
What's your take? What do you take? What's your take?
I agree with expanding it. You
Yeah.
know, I know that these kids, well, with NIL money, it's no longer about the education. It's about getting paid. But I know that these kids want to play because they want to be on a big stage. But some of these teams, they don't want to go to a bowl unless it's part of a tournament.
Well, you got to have a consistency, though. And they don't have consistency in college football right now.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
So Notre Dame said no thanks.
Yeah.
No bowl,
and
no thanks.
it snowballed into about 4 or 5 other teams saying no.
Nope.
And you're going to find that's going to become the trendy thing to do. It's just like, what was it, about 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe longer, maybe 7 years ago, we started seeing the trend of players opting out. Oh, I can't get hurt for playing because I've got to get ready for the pros.
Right.
And so they didn't play in the bowls.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not seeing the top players. So the bowls were already losing, because why would I want to go pay $200 to go watch my team play if my top players aren't going to be there?
Well, there's nothing on the line. It's just a bowl game.
Yeah, it's a bowl game.
Right.
And it's for recruiting and all that. And so that's the other thing that I think. Not only I talked about Notre Dame, but really I think the other thing you got to resolve too is if you're paying a player, by golly, he should play preseason. He should play playoffs or bowls, because if I pay you $3 million and then you opt out on me and don't play the bowl game, I mean, and where's that $3 million coming from? It ain't coming from the school. Mm-hmm. Back up to what I was saying a while ago. Why did I get out of being a Baylor ticket holder? Because the ante was increasing.
Let's talk about the money, Rodney.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about.
I don't want to go too far before we get to the money.
The money.
Yeah, I want to talk about the money. I want to talk specifically about. We both agree that the NIL thing is not sustainable.
Yes.
They need to move to a football playoff system. But isn't everything underneath all of this, isn't it motivated by money?
It is.
And money is such a...
It's a greed.
It's a topic that brings up many feelings and emotions, especially when we talk about what you do with your money.
Yes.
Where you give your money.
Exactly.
Like, do you give it to Baylor?
Oh, wow. Segue in.
Where are you giving your money? I know you got some thoughts about that because I read over your show notes.
What did you think about that?
I thought it was good. I think you're thinking down a line that It's kind of like the thing about, the NFL teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you're thinking more in terms of leaving a legacy, wanting to provide you want to provide an example for your kids about how you spend your money, how you invest your money, how you give your money. You're building a legacy. You're not necessarily trying to
So
hoard
let's
your
set
money.
it up.
Okay.
As I asked in the notes,
Okay, go.
how were you taught to think about your life growing up? How were you taught?
Give me more details.
Were you taught to go out and go to college?
Oh yeah,
Why?
because I needed an education
Why?
so that I could take care of my family.
So you're falling right into line. Why?
Right,
Why
right.
would you need to take care of your family?
So I wasn't a bum.
So you got to provide, right?
Right. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
But as I'm reading this book, and I just want to give a shout out. I don't know the guy. Actually sent an email. So it's called Simple Money, Rich Life. It's by Bob Lotich or Lotich. Lotich. If I'm saying it wrong, if Bob comes across this and sees it, and I'm saying it wrong, so this book is starting to change the way I look at a lot of things. And he talked about a giving mindset. And I've always had this policy. When I give, I like to do it in secret because I believe it talks about it biblically. I believe that when you give in secret, when you do something, like if you pull up to the drive-thru at Whataburger and you were to say, I may or may not have done this on occasion, you were to say, hey, look to the lady that answers the window, hey, I not only want my ticket, but I want the 2 or 3 cars behind me. Well, obviously, those 2 or 3 cars, unless they chase you down, which may or may not have happened as well. That's a weird feeling. Unless they chase you down, they're never going to know who did that.
Right.
All right? And so that's an act of kindness, and that's actually an act of giving. Or if you're in a restaurant and you pay for somebody's lunch, unless you're doing it to the person like you have done several times with me, and I appreciate that. But unless you're doing it, if you do it, say, you pull the waitress over and say, hey, see that table over
Well, listen,
there?
Rodney, I only learn from the best. I know you probably buy about 10 lunches a week.
No.
I know you do. Don't lie.
So anyway, as we were talking about, but just having a giving mindset.
Yeah.
And Bob goes into this talking about being, a cheerful giver. Yes, a lot of people are taught when you do finally get around to hearing about giving, you're usually in life, the pastor's preaching a sermon on it, maybe because the church needs more money, or maybe, and that's the mindset sometimes people come in it. Oh no, he's preaching about giving. That must mean they need more money. When instead, what if we had a mindset that, what if we set up our budgets, or what if we set up our lives to where as we got more money, maybe we took a percentage of that and we gave. As God blessed us more, and this wasn't even in the notes that I sent you because I just read it this morning. He was talking about giving this morning in a way that as they give a certain percentage and then they set up an account that they set aside and they put money in it. And then when an emergency comes up that someone needs something, like a person's out of gas or something, you can tap into that account and give it to that person. And now you're giving. And then he said that he talked to a financial advisor, and that financial advisor did a 6-month cap on his living expenses, meaning that his living expenses stayed the same.
Okay.
So that over the 6 months, anything that came in above that, he took and gave away. And he said that he was going to see what happened in 6 months. And he reported back to this author. He said, Bob, we're more financially free than we've ever been. Like, we're going to continue this infinitely. And then what Bob said is that when him and his wife started making more money, they did a 50-50 split, and they 50% increased their living expenses, and then 50% extra money that came in went to giving. And I'm sitting here going, okay, why don't you do a hybrid of that? I was sitting there as I was reading the thing. Have I lost you? Are you following me?
I'm still with you.
Okay. So as I was thinking is, how about if you got more money, you did a split, 50% went towards increasing your living, and 50% went, you capture living expenses, and maybe 50% went towards the savings or investments, and 50% went towards giving. And you just, as you increased, you just kept doing that.
Yeah.
And then maybe over time, 10 or 15%, you allow yourself to have some perks from that or whatever. I think God's going to bless you.
Can we get real?
Yeah, get real as you want.
Let's get real, okay?
Because I struggle with it.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about it because, you're talking about increasing.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things increasing.
Yes.
I was at the grocery store yesterday, and between two grocery stores, it was $350. My car insurance went through the roof a couple of years ago. My health insurance just jumped 46% year over year. Let's see. Now, gases have stayed about the same. Milk is about the same. Loaf of bread is roughly about the same. But, Chick-fil-A before the pandemic was $5. Now it's 15. Like, what hasn't gone up? Everything's gone up. So at what point are we talking about giving? At what point are we talking about budgeting?
So, and depending on, not to draw politics in this, but depending on what side of the aisle you fall in, you think either Trump's addressing that or you think he's not addressing that. And depending on where you fall on the aisle.
I don't care who's addressing it because the grocery store still wants to get paid.
Exactly. And that's a good way to answer that, because I agree with the same thing you are, is that things are going up. But I've also found, and I'm not here.
So if your expenses go up, do you decrease your giving? If your income hasn't gone up, but your expenses gone up, do you decrease your giving?
How much do you trust God?
Okay, so that's a really good question.
How much do you trust God?
Is it about control?
No, it's about trust.
It's about trust. Talk to us about that. What do you mean?
It's about trust. It's about trusting God to do the impossible. And it's a hard. I'm good, buddy. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Speaking
we
of
got our host brought us some extra water. And
Steve Casillo.
I was clacking. I realized I was clacking
Steve.
the water during the deal. So back to where we were talking about. It's about trust. It's about trust with God. One of the things that I'm also learning, our church does a 21-day fast. If there's anybody in here that has influence in their church, and you're not doing this, I cannot tell you how much I would recommend you doing this. I'm going to segue real quick, do a chase a rabbit for just a second. I tell all my salesmen to copy the best roofing salesman out there. There's a really good roofing salesman. I wish he was working for Tiger Roofing. He is not. His name's Tony Munoz, and I think the world of him. And Tony, you're doing a great job if you come across this. And I tell my guys to copy him.
Okay.
And the reason being is because not everybody's going to see Tony Munoz, but they may see Reese Lawson, they may see Lee Denny, they may see Brock Milligan, they may see Andrew Anthony, or they may see Tyler. And Tyler, I'm sorry, I don't have the last name yet because he just texted me today and said I'm in. But they may see Tyler. And here's my point. If our church, Community Life Church, based out of Forney, Texas, has a branch in Kaufman, Canton, Rockwall, and Sunnyvale, does a 21 days of prayer. They do it every year. When I was stuck in North Carolina, I was hating life. Nothing against Carrie and John McClung. Y'all have a fabulous company, and this is not a dig towards y'all or anything. I was just out there all alone, and when I was out there, I was going through the 21 days of prayer, watching it online. But the thing is, I dropped it as soon as I got home at the end of January. I'm praying, and I think I have things in place this year where I'm not going to drop it. But if your church is not doing this, I would highly encourage you to do this. They meet live every morning. We're going to finish this Sunday. They meet live every morning during the week. We even met on Martin Luther King Day. They do it from 6 to 6:30. They also, with technology, you can if you go to the YouTube page of Community Life and you haven't done this and you're like, man, I want to do this, you can go back to January 5th was the first day. It was the first Monday in January, and just start it right there. I may do it again if it's still up. I may do it again during Lent, when Lent comes around in February. But do 21 days of prayer, and you can fast. For the most part, there was a few days I cheated due to meetings or lunches or whatever. But for the most part, I didn't eat from, I ate at 6 p.m. each night, and then I wouldn't eat again until the following day at 6 p.m. And there was a few times that I cheated, or there was a few times that I only made it to 4 and had a snack before I did, but I did my best to try to do that. But the whole premises for that was just starting the new year off right. And I just think there were two things that I've done. One that I did before the holidays and before the 21 days of prayer started. I started reading. I read in the morning, and then I picked up a book during the holidays called the Journaling with Jesus, and I started journaling with Jesus. And then I also started reading the Bible app, YouVersion Bible app, the Verse of the Day full devotional. And when I started doing that, ending my nights, and again, there were a few nights that I cheated on, but most nights I didn't, that I started reading the devotional, and that was it. I didn't get back on Facebook. I condensed my Facebook from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So I'm not on Facebook before 9 a.m. and I'm not on Facebook after 9 p.m. And some of the things that I have done that have just made changes have produced huge results already. Mm-hmm. I was having breakfast with a guy last Friday, I believe. Yeah, because that's when this Tyler kid heard us and came over to the booth and reached out to me. And we started a dialogue that is apparently leading to a possible joining the team. I think he said he's in today, so he's possibly joining the team. And the supplier was looking, he's telling me, he's like, hey, man, do y'all have anything? Because we're like really slow right now. And that was the second supplier that's told me that. Hey, man, we're really slow right now. And it's slow. And we are about to have one of our best Januaries ever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think it's all due to the fact, and I'm praying, I'm hoping that my entire team shifts to this. I think it starts and ends with God.
Yeah. Can I ask you a pointed question?
Ask me anything.
Let's say we're several decades in the future and your grandkids are going back and watching this episode, as I'm sure they probably will. And they're in a situation where they're giving.
Tegan may go her own way. She's a mean mugger.
Tegan. Shout out, Tegan, if you watch this.
Tegan's 2 years old. I don't know. She may watch it 10 years from now. But
so let's say
I love
we're
you, Tegan.
a couple decades in the future and the kids are going back and watching this to hear what, Grandpa Rodney had to say. And they're in a situation where they're giving, but their income is not increasing as fast as their expenses are. And they got to make a choice about what do they do? So why don't you look in the camera and tell them what you want them to do?
I think you got to trust God. And I think you got to sit down with God. I remember going back to having a lunch with a guy 20 years ago. He's president of a university in Texas. I don't think he'd mind me sharing his name, Corey Hines. He probably won't even see this, but we were sitting at a local restaurant in Waxahachie, Texas, about 20 years ago. And he's like, what do you want to do, Rodney? And I was like, I want to give. And I want to give, I'd like to be that guy. At the time we were reading Purpose Driven Life. And a lot of people will say that this is easy for him to do now, but I was reading Purpose Driven Life, and I stumbled across an article where I saw Rick Warren lives off 7% of his income. 7%. Now, again, if you know the story of Purpose Driven Life has sold, at one point, I'd read the numbers, I'm sure it's more now, but it sold over 40 million copies of a book at the time it came out. There's a lot of people that could live off 7% of 40 million copies of about $15 or $20 a pop. That would be in the neighborhood of, I would think, if my Terrell math is weak, but I would think at $20 a pop, that'd be 80 million. So I'm sure there's publishing costs and stuff like that, but it's still a pretty strong amount of money. And I say that to say this, that I don't believe that Rick and his wife, I don't know his wife's name, but I don't believe that Rick Warren and his wife's name, whatever his wife's name is, just said, oh, wow, we've sold 40 million copies of Purpose Driven Life. Let's take it down to 7%. Because in this book, I think I can find it real quick. What happens, and I this was a thing that really stuck with me, if I can find it. Oh, yes, man, this must be a God thing because it opened right up to the page. It says, look, I know it's so tempting to believe that we will give more when we have more money coming in, but it never works that way. Parkinson's second law demonstrates that our expenses will rise to meet our income. The translation there is, we will always spend what we earn unless we have already put systems in place to prioritize giving. So see, the thing is, we get caught into this lie, and I'm guilty. I could raise both my hands and both my feet. I won't say that to any of y'all because I won't put y'all on the spot. You can choose to acknowledge that or not, but I am that man. I always felt like I'll give when I make more money. If I get a raise, I'll give, and then something came along or something gets in the way. The problem is we don't give from the very start too often. We're working 2 to 3 jobs, and if you go back right to the very first sin, I mean, I think we disregard the Bible and we don't apply the biblical principles, but it's like the Lord said, I'm going to make you work and toll the land, and you're going to be tired, and I'm going to do that because of your sin, and I'm going to make your labor pains hard to the woman because of her sin. And I think what we have to understand, translate that to the modern day, is because we don't we don't honor him, and we have this mindset growing up. It's instilled in us that we had to go to college, and we had to do this. That's why I love Gary Vee, because he's like 96% of people that are in college don't belong in college because they're spending money just because their parents want to be able to tell their neighbors, my son goes to the University of Texas, or my daughter goes to Baylor University, or my son, to kick in for Mike, goes to Norton University now. Which
Nobody even cares about that school anymore, so it's not a bragging right.
I'm sorry. I was trying to give you some.
That was like a backhanded.
Trying to give you some love right there. That's a backhanded compliment.
There's no love.
So my son or daughter go to the University of Oklahoma, but the point I'm trying to make is we want to hold our chest high that our son and daughter is doing this, when in the great scheme of things, we need to be thinking about the money that they're putting up against them loan-wise and the cost, when in today's world you can get educated at a much cheaper means and become much more solid and develop. We don't teach good money habits from the very beginning because we ourselves don't know the money habits to teach. We're learning. And the problem is we need to be giving people. We need to help each other. It's, this is going to be a political side right here. A lot of people hate Trump for what he's doing right now. And I am a firm believer that we need to be witnessing to the world, and we need to be stepping in and helping them. But we are not everybody's money pit. We are not everybody's money pit. And so when we pull back.
Are you cutting the Somalians off?
Yes. I'm sorry. We are not everybody's money pit. And if that causes you to
How about California?
not like me.
You going to quit giving California
just because
money?
I have a different view. We are not everybody's money pit. We are not here to pass out and then cause our society to collapse. Because that's what's gonna happen.
Rodney, I love it when you get opinionated. You seldom do that, man.
I have opinions. I just don't believe that it's my place here to share. And this isn't a Republican or Democrat deal. This is just a fact that I've always said. I don't think Jesus tells us to help our neighbor, to love our neighbor. And yes, we should love our neighbor and we should help our neighbor. Mm-hmm. But when they're taking advantage of us and when they are doing the things and abusing us, killing our people and killing our citizens, and then on the right hand asking for help, I'm not in on that. I'm not in on that. I am out on that. And I'm sorry if that offends somebody. If you just said, well, I ain't listening to Rodney no more, I'm dang sure not buying my roof from him, I get it. I understand. That's your feeling. And we can have different views and still be friends. And that's the other thing is we get on Facebook, which our pastor, if you want to see a good sermon about social media and stuff, I don't know if Randy Wade is on the YouTube as well. If you don't want to do 21 Days of Prayer, you go back and watch whoever's on our online version of Community Life Church this past Sunday, because that sermon is spot on about social media and the abuses. There are 634 teenage girls a year that are dying because they're so depressed by social media that they take their own lives. Ooh. 634. And I see too many parents that give their kid the phone and say, just because they want them to shut up. No, just be a parent. I'm sorry, but just be a parent.
Listen, Jacob, I've been waiting 11 weeks for Rodney to go off.
I didn't go off. I'm just being honest about
things. Finally today, he dropped some red hot sports opinions.
They weren't sports opinions.
Right here in the last minute of our podcast.
They're real life opinions. What's your mom's last name?
I'm not telling you.
No. What's her last name?
I'm not going to tell you my mom's last name is Swisher.
What's her first name?
Linda.
Miss Linda, tell Mike if I'm right or wrong. Just tell him if I'm right or wrong.
That's episode 11 of Tiger Talks podcast, Rodney.
Hey,
last sentence.
Like stripes on the cover, we got you covered at Tiger Roofing.
All right, make it a great day.
Or I'm sorry, like stripes on a tiger, we got you covered at Tiger Roofing. I'm still learning it. Sorry, Donnie, I messed it up.
All right.
Donnie, I messed it up.
Cut this thing off.